Velasco, and thank you for reading. Manny Pacquiao, I told, I don't think there'll be a problem for Manny.
As it scares very much. But every once in a while, the market also becomes fixed and nothing. Again, happening to nothing.
Ako po si Associate PM, only here on Para sa Bayan.
That's the opening bell for Round by Round presented by Eastern Communications. I'm Bill Velasco.
I'm Nisi Casiano. Attorney Ed Tolentino joins us later on in the show.
Mabuhay Pilipinas and welcome world. And we'd like to talk a little bit about what's been hogging the sports headlines lately. Alam po ba ninyo na tinamaan na ng COVID bago mag-weekend si Oscar De La Hoya at tandaan po natin, fully vaccinated atleta pa po itong taong to. Kaya hindi na natin pag-usapan kung anong mga kontrobersya tungkol sa pagpapabakuna. Pero pumalit po sa kanya si Evander Holyfield. Matagal na ring retirado pero nagkaroon po ng issue ito dahil unang-una ang laban ay nakatakda sa light heavyweight. Heavyweight po si Evander Holyfield. Naging world champion siya, tinalo po din niya si Mike Tyson. Kaya hindi po pumayag yung California na idaos ang laban doon kung si Holyfield ang lalaban. Lahat po yan, i-empake nila, ililipat po nila sa Florida. Nisi, bakit nagkagano?
Well, there is a concern on the part of Evander Holyfield, especially na hindi po natin alam kung he is really in shape for this kind of fight because ang kanyang he's back in the gym, but he's preparing for an exhibition bout that comes with a different set of rules. Kasi kung sa exhibition bout, 12-ounce gloves ang dapat gagamitin tapos 2 rounds lang allotted for that kind of fight. And technically, wala naman dapat mananalo doon kasi if it goes the distance, draw lang ang magiging resulta. Plus of course, the consideration dito ng California State Athletic Commission is the fact that he would drop down to light heavyweight. Ang weight limit ng light heavyweight is 175 pounds. So I can't blame the California State Athletic Commission for not sanctioning the fight. And sa ngayon, sa nakikita ko, it may end up being an exhibition.
Mukhang gano'n na nga mangyayari. Para doon sa mga hindi po nakakaalam, bawat estado po sa Amerika merong kanyang State Athletic Commission. Kaya po kung natatandaan nyo, noong 2011, nung nilabanan ni Manny Pacquiao si Antonio Margarito, sa Texas po nila ginawa dahil yung Nevada naman ayaw siya bigyan na ng lisensya dahil nga dinaya niya si Miguel Cotto at tinangka niyang dayain si Shane Mosley na maglagay ng palaman. Plaster of Paris. Kaya ganyan po, bawat state may kanya-kanyang regulasyon. At sa pagkakataong ito, kagulat-gulat naman na hindi pumayag ang California, nalipat naman sa Florida. At siguro yan naman talaga ang problema sa mga exhibition bout, no, Nisi. Parang binabaliwala na lang nila yung mga regulasyon, yung mga patakaran, even the rules. It's 8 rounds, 2 minutes per round, and really what's going to go on? I don't think Holyfield's going to make the weight, and there won't be any penalties for that.
And also, just to add, Sir Bill, it's the fact that Holyfield hasn't fought in the ring for over a decade. We still don't know kung ano talaga ang condition ni Holyfield, especially let's consider also his age. And the last time, this is also my concern, and my concern is Vitor Belfort is in awesome shape. And the last time I saw Vitor Belfort in such a good shape was before the UFC banned the use of testosterone replacement therapy. Sorry, I have to say it, but I am a bit worried of it. So I can't really blame the California State Athletic Commission for at least stepping back from it. And I'm just quite surprised that Florida is considering it.
Yan din naman ang isa pang problema ngayong lockdown dahil marami pong walang pinagkakakitaan, marami pong bakante na mga venue, kaya madaling maglipat, no? Tapos yung panahon naman sa Florida at sa California halos pareho din, marami ng matatandang nagre-retiro sa Florida. Kaya ang tingin ko sa laban nito talagang magiging katawa-tawa din dahil manghihina ng husto si Evander Holyfield kung bababa siya ng ganong kanipis, no? I don't think he can do it personally. We also saw what happened to Oscar De La Hoya when he fought Manny Pacquiao at a weight he had not fought at in 6 years. Magmumukhang pat-pat po to si Evander Holyfield. Kaya, tama ka Nisi, kinakabahan ako para sa kanya kasi baka una-una pag pumayat ka ng ganon, tatamaan lahat, pati puso mo tatamaan.
Yes,
Sa edad na yan, no, nakakatakot talaga. May pangamba ako, baka masaktan talaga siya.
And honestly, I don't think that he can make 175 pounds. And remember, hindi naman po bumaba ng ganong klaseng timbang si Evander Holyfield through his entire career, especially during his prime. Ang pinakamababa na nilabanan ni Evander Holyfield was, I think, cruiserweight. Then before he transitioned to heavyweight. So mahihirapan siya to get that 175 pounds. So the best recourse for this to happen is to be contested in a under exhibition rules. And I think sa ganitong klaseng laban, mapupull off nila to. Especially that last minute replacement. Ito nga si Evander Holyfield.
I don't think he can lose more than 20 pounds in a matter of days. No? Nakakatakot yun. At isa pang gusto kong punteriyahin Nisi, itong mga celebrity fights na to, mga crossover fights na to, yung mga totoo o lehitimong mga boksingero na lalagay na lang sa mga undercard. Bakit sila papayag na sila yung totoong boksingero? Bakit sila pumapayag na undercard lang sila sa mga artista, sa mga YouTuber na pumapasok sa boxing?
Well, if you're going to look at this trend, Sir Bill, it has two sides of the coin. It's becoming both acceptable and appealing for boxers or non-combat athletes because these exhibition fights, crossover fights, novelty fights, or whatever you want to call it, it won't tarnish their legacies and records. It's more of a glorified sparring session to these legitimate boxers or non-combat athletes, or let's say combat sports athletes, let me correct that. But if they go up against someone who is not a boxer under pro rules, it's still a win-win situation because odds favor them. For MMA fighters, it's an alternative way for them to receive something big that they didn't even have the chance to earn in mixed martial arts. Let's take, for example, Ben Askren, Conor McGregor. If they lose, there's no shame to it because they can pull out the argument that they are not boxers.
Hindi naman talaga sila boksingero, hindi ba?
For non-combat sports athletes, let's go to that bracket, they bring in new eyes to the sport. So the real boxers who are fighting on the undercard could capitalize on the new set of audience that these artists or non-combat athletes or YouTubers bring to the sport. So on paper, it's actually good. It should go hand in hand because it could give these up-and-coming boxers a new platform to showcase their talents. So if that's the case, I'm all for it. But let's take, for example, the Thriller event last April. It was a disaster, Sir Bill. Kasi it did more harm than good. Why? Why? Let me enumerate. You got an intoxicated boxing legend on the commentary. Let's put it that way, intoxicated. You had two legitimate boxers in the co-main event who were there for the limelight and failed to give viewers what real boxing is all about. Then you have the main event, which was Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, which was a complete mismatch. But I can't blame networks like Showtime. Actually, Showtime did a terrific job promoting the Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley fight over a week last weekend. Kasi with the attention and the revenue that this type of boxing fights are getting, they're jumping on the bandwagon. Now everybody is on board. Now it may end up, this is my concern, it may end up being another case of sports fad. it's interesting because you have two different fields of expertise colliding with one another. But if it happens frequently, it's possible that people will eventually get tired of it. Now, going back to Jake Paul, also, if Jake Paul keeps on fighting non-boxers, I don't think people will stick around and pay to watch him perform, because in the process, they will clamor to see him fight a real boxer. Look at what happened in the fight against Tyron Woodley. Obviously, Tyron Woodley was very accustomed in the pace and dynamics of mixed martial arts. We didn't see a Tyron Woodley. Of course, di mo naman matututunan yan overnight to be a boxer. So the biggest worry I have right now, Sir Bill, is that at the moment, it's all fun and games until something terrible happens.
Yun, pag
And
meron nang nasaktan. Oo.
And the bad and sad part of it is the backlash will fall on our favorite sport, which is boxing. Bill filed in the House of Representatives seeks to memorialize the accomplishment of Filipino athletes who have represented the country in the Olympic Games. Filed on August 26, House Bill 10096, or the Philippine Olympian Memorial Act, looks to establish an Olympian museum at the new Clark City Sports Complex in Tarlac, as well as the inclusion of stories and sacrifices of Olympic medalists in the basic education curriculum, plus issuance of commemorative post stamps and coins, as well as renaming of roads and infrastructures. Sir Bill, what's your take on this matter?
Okay, well, siyempre, pag sinabi mo mga Olympians, Olympic medalists, pinakamarami dyan mga boksingero, lalo na yung mga 1960s pa lang, yung mga naunang mga medalists natin. No? Maganda yung intensyon ng batas. Pero ang problema dyan, ilalagay mo naman yung museum sa isang lugar na hindi pinupuntahan ng tao. No? Bakit hindi ilagay sa malapit sa isang mall o makipag-usap ka sa isang mall na long-term rental o kaya sa may Rizal Memorial? Kasi doon talaga daanan ng sasakyan, daanan ng tao, makikita. Kasi pag ganyan, mangyayari din, magiging field trip yan sa mga estudyante. Kung nasa Tarlac yan, paano pupuntahan ng mga estudyante ng Metro Manila kung magkaroon man tayo ng mga face-to-face classes? Magandang intensyon. Ang tanong dyan is the execution. No? And then you have the idea of doing memorial stamps, which PhilPost can do even without the House bill, because they've done it all the time. Katunayan nga, may pinaplano daw silang mga stamp para sa Tokyo Olympics. No? In fact, we are the first country in the world that issued a basketball stamp back in 1933. No, yung coins naman, ang kausap mo dyan is central bank. Ibig sabihin niya, may kikita dyan, may maaring inegosyo dyan, lalong-lalo na kung ikaw yung supplier. Ako maganda yung intensyon, dapat tutukan ng media yan, pero mahabang proseso pa po yan. Pero lang kung gaya ng mga citizenship ng mga foreign players na sumali sa Gilas Pilipinas, na mamadaliin natin sa dalawang kapulungan ng Kongreso, no? Kasi meron pong House bill itong pinag-uusapan natin, sa lower house yan. Kailangan may counterpart bill yan sa Senado, tapos pagbubuklurin nila kasi hindi naman po eksaktong pare-pareho yan. May mga tatanggalin, may mga idadagdag, tapos dadaan pa yan sa 3 pagbasa. And then the 2 chambers combined will have to approve it. And finally, whoever is the president, that might not be President Duterte anymore because we don't know when this bill will become law. Tsaka pa lang yan, magiging ganap na batas pag pinirmahan na ng Pangulo ng Pilipinas. Kaya mahababang proseso pa yan. Yung pinag-usapan namin noon na bagong National Sports Training Center sa Bataan, matagal-tagal pa po yan kasi feasibility study pa lang. Aabutin na yan ng 6 na buwan hanggang 1 taon. So seed money pa lang yung binibigay. Tapos syempre, itatayo pa yon. Aabutin niya ng 2-3 taon. So realistically, we're looking at maybe at least 5 years, no, bago maging totoo yan. Pero gaya na sinabi ko, napakaganda ng intention yan. Kaya lang, ang problema is, kailan ito mangyayari? Kung mangyayari man.
Ako naman, Sir Bill, I'm all for it like you. these Olympians deserve to be immortalized because of their service to the country, as well as be remembered and celebrated by generations to come. With this, while the intention of the bill is good, I can't help but notice the timing of it because we're a few months away from the 2022 elections. Obviously, companies, brands, and other institutions are riding on the Olympic success of Heidelin Diaz, Nesty Petesio, Carlo Paalam, Yumir Marshall. It just gives the impression that they're doing the same. So what I'm trying to say here is this kind of recognition should have happened years ago. We waited for a gold medal for our lawmakers to file a bill that will somehow permanently cement these athletes' names in the consciousness of the Filipino people and in their daily lives. We have a long list of athletes who left an indelible legacy in the world of sports. And I think we're 10, 15 years late. Kasi sa akin, Sir Bill, recognition will go a long way and create a lasting impact in the minds of these athletes if this was initiated before. And as we all know, sports is a perfect image builder. And countries such as the US, China, and so on can attest to this. While it gives a vibe of the notion everybody loves a winner, I would also like to think that it's better late than never. But then again, Sir Bill, we should be ahead of the curve, not behind it.
Ang sabi nga ni John F. Kennedy, success has 100 fathers. Victory has 100 fathers while defeat is an orphan. No? Tandaan po natin yung Arnis Law, no, na ginawang opisyal na sport at martial art ng Pilipinas, ang Arnis. Inabot po ng 9 na taon bago naging batas pinirmahan ni President Gloria Arroyo noong 2010, no, sa pagsisikap ni Senator Mig Zubiri na isang dating arnisador para sa Philippine team. No? Kaya tandaan po natin, mahabang proseso pa yan at sana matutukan ng media, sana hindi magbago yung batas dahil dito maganda kasi pati mga Paralympians kasama dito eh. Baka mamaya pag-uwi na naman, pati mamaya SEA Games lang kasama na dyan. Ay, magiging Hall of Fame na siya, eh meron na tayo nun. Diba? So sa akin, kung Olympians Memorial, di Olympians at Paralympians. At ngayon naman talakayan natin ang maaaring mangyari kay Prince Albert Pagara na ako personally masakit sa akin to dahil ang dami niyang laban na inupuan ko no nung nasa ABS-CBN pa ako at nung buhay pa yung Ala Promotion. Sa katunayan, nakapunta pa ako ng Dubai para lang una siya sa isang main event na no napakaikli ng laban. Unang round pa lang, pangalawang round di na tumayo yung kalaban. Kaya ang huling balita po dyan, over the weekend, ay nagtangka po daw siya na magpapatay at sa kulungan. No? Ganito po ang proseso niyan. Magkakaroon po ng tinatawag na inquest proceeding muna. Aalamin muna ng mga otoridad no? Through the fiscal kung ano ba talaga ang nangyari. At kung sa tingin nila, karapat-dapat, sasampahan po ng kaso yan. Pero kailangan po may magsampa ng kaso. Ngayon, malamang kakausapin ng panig ni Pagara yung mga nagsasampa ng kaso sa kanya kasama dyan sa pagkakaalam ko yung kanyang live-in partner. Kung totoo nga rape yung kasong isasampa, eh wala pong bail yan. No? Hindi po makakapagpiyansa. So ibig sabihin, makukulong ka habang nagtatagal yung kaso. At nakikita natin po sa mga ibang kaso, inabot po ng 5-7 taon yung kaibigan natin si Rudy Distrito nung nakulong sa Amerika, 7 taon po siya bago natapos yung kaso. Diba? Proseso pa lang yon. Pero kung sa paningin ng korte, mahina ang ebidensya, pwede po siyang mag-bail o pwede po siyang magbayad para pansamantalang makalaya siya. Pero gaya na sinabi ko kanina, mahabang kaso po yan. Hindi po natin hinuhusgahan si Albert Pagara. Hindi po natin alam ang totoong nangyari. Yan po ang prosesong mahaba-habang mangyayari sa kanya.
Well, totoo yan, Sir Bill. Nakakalungkot isipin na ang katulad ni Albert Pagara ay nasangkot sa ganitong klase ng kaso. He was once considered one of the top prospects who would hold the fort of Philippine boxing in the future despite falling short in getting a world title opportunity in 2016. I truly believe that he still has good years ahead of him. He's only 27. So he was Actually, he's very fortunate because MTK Global took him in following the demise of Ala Boxing. Now that he is in a very unfortunate situation, it puts a cloud of uncertainty on his boxing career.
At yan ang tatalakayin naman ngayon ni Attorney Ed Tolentino. Pag-uusapan ni Attorney Ed Tolentino ngayon ang mga naging world champion or world title contender na nakulong din sa katulad na kaso ng pangahalan.
Hello guys, ako si Attorney Ed Tolentino and welcome sa trivia portion ng Round by Round. Laman ng balita ngayon ang pro-boxing prospect na si Prince Albert Pagara. Ito'y matapos siyang arestuhin sa reklamong panghahalay. Alam ba ninyo na sa history ng pro-boxing, napakarami ng mga pro-boxers ang nasira ang karera dahil sa nasabing asunto. In 1992, ang dating world heavyweight champion na si Mike Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in jail for raping a beauty contestant. Mike Tyson was granted parole 3 years later or in 1995. Bumalik siya sa pro boxing but he was never the same fighter. Sandali lamang siya naging world champion and eventually his career plummeted into obscurity. In 1984, ang dating WBC junior lightweight champion Rolando Navarrete was sentenced to 3 years in jail dyan sa Hawaii for assaulting a Korean waitress. Nakalabas sa preso si Navarrete after 3 years or in 1988. Bumalik siya sa pro boxing but he never again fought for a world title. In 1982, ang pinakamainit na junior middleweight boxer sa buong mundo ay walang iba kung hindi si Tony El Torito Ayala Jr. ng Texas. 19 years old lamang noon si Ayala at lalaban na dapat para sa junior middleweight title. But in 1983, itong si Ayala was found guilty of sexual assault and sentenced to 35 years in prison. Nakawala si Ayala by virtue of parole in 1999. He resumed boxing but was never the same fighter. In 1999, ang pinakamainit na heavyweight contender ay si Ike Ibiabuchi ng Nigeria. 20-0 with 15 knockouts ang record ni Ibiabuchi at pumuposisyon na siya for a world title shot sa heavyweight crown. But eventually in 1999, he was found guilty of sexual assault and sentenced to 20 years in prison. Nakawala by 2015 itong si Ibebuchi pero klarado na wala nang pupuntahan ang kanyang boxing career. Iyan mga kaibigan ang ilan lamang sa mga sikat na boksingero na nasira ang career dahil sa kasong panghahalay. Naway malampasan ni Prince Albert Pagara ang unos na kanyang pinagdaraanan ngayon. Pero paalala lamang, kahit na anong lakas ang suntok ng isang boksingero, mas matindi pa rin ang dating ng kamay ng batas.
And now let's meet today's Eastern Communications fearless fighter. Nisi?
Our Eastern Communications fearless fighter of the day is Gary Antonio Russell, a world-ranked bantamweight from Washington, D.C. He holds a professional record of 18 wins with no loss and 12 wins by way of knockout. Russell is set to face Alejandro Barrios on the undercard of Stephen Fulton versus Brandon Figueroa on September 18 in Las Vegas. Russell makes a quick turnaround after his fight against Emmanuel Rodriguez last August 14 ended in a no contest due to an accidental collision of heads. Meanwhile, Barrios is no stranger to Philippine boxing fans as he fought Jerwin Ancajas to a split draw in 2018. A few weeks ago, Russell was rumored to be the next opponent of Jonas Sultan. Russell is currently number 9 in the Ring magazine, also number 9 in the IBF. Meanwhile, he is ranked number 2 in the WBA. And that's our fearless fighter of the day, presented by Eastern Communications.
And that's the final bell for today's Round by Round presented by Eastern Communications. I'm Bill Velasco.
I'm Nisi Casiano. We're on Facebook at 6 p.m. Monday to Friday and our YouTube channel right after. Like, follow, share, and subscribe now. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to get notified about the latest news and fearless views in the world of boxing.
Ryan Songalia, Boyet Season, and Dennis Principe will answer the bell for tomorrow. Catch them on the next Round by Round. All boxing, all Filipino, all the time. See you.